just looking. Oh, I'd have to go in the camera. No,
You just gotta scroll down.
no, it's not on there. It's not on
Oh, you're looking at the website.
the, yeah, I can't, who knows on my Gmail account, sign in is. Just look at it in here. Who knows?
This is what we were doing. That's why we missed meetings.
Woo! That's worth it.
Yeah. We go to South.
Let's see.
Always watching.
Okay, I've got 7 p.m., so we will call the September 27th, 2021 regular meeting of the Planning Commission of the Charter Township of Meridian to order. First on our agenda this evening is public remarks. If you would like to speak on an issue in front of the Planning Commission this evening, we do have 3 opportunities. The first is right now. The second is at our public hearing, which is agenda item 6A currently. And the last one is item 11, which is the last thing we'll do. Please remember that if you'd like to speak at public remarks, to please fill out one of those green sheets of paper listed at or sitting there on the table, and get those to our staff, and they'll make sure they make their way to us. At this first public remarks and at the last public remarks, you can speak on any topic, and when we're speaking at the public hearing, please limit your comments to that matter. And before I forget, I'll have to remember my request from the clerk to call the roll. So we will go ahead and first call the roll. Commissioner McConnell.
Present.
Commissioner Primo.
Present.
Commissioner Cordill.
Present.
Commissioner Shrewsbury.
Present.
Commissioner Richards.
Here.
Commissioner Bloomer.
Present.
Commissioner Snyder.
Present.
Commissioner Trezise.
Here.
And the chair is here. And so we do have a quorum. One other reminder, please wait to be recognized before speaking. Since everyone's wearing masks, it's tough for the clerk to keep track of who we are. So I'll try to be diligent about recognizing everyone in a time-efficient manner. With that said, back to public remarks. Does any members of the public wishing to speak this evening? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public remarks and move on to our next agenda item, which is agenda item 3, approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion on the agenda? Moved by Commissioner Cordill. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Bloomer. Any discussion on the agenda this evening? Any changes? Seeing none, all those in favor of the agenda as proposed, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the agenda carries. Next up is agenda item 4A, the approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes from our September 13th, 2021 regular meeting. Do we have a motion on the minutes this evening? Moved by Commissioner Trezise. Do we have a second? Seconded by Commissioner McConnell. Any discussion on the minutes, changes? Commissioner Shrewsbury.
On item 4A, it says that I offered a friendly amendment to the minutes, but that was not me, so I am guessing that it was either Commissioner Snyder or Commissioner Cordill.
We will double check that and confirm.
Okay. I wasn't at the July meeting, so I don't think I would have made that friendly amendment.
Probably not. Okay, so staff will look into that and make the appropriate changes.
Thank you.
Any other changes or amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the minutes as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes pass. Next up is communications. We have none. So our next agenda item is agenda item 6A, our first public hearing of the evening, rezoning number 21-070-5114 Jodan Drive to rezone the north half of the property from RCC, multiple family, maximum 34 dwelling units per acre, to RB, single family, high density. And we'll open the public hearing at 7:03 p.m. and turn things over to Director Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to briefly go over this because if this feels like deja vu, it is. We discussed this less than 2 months ago, or 3 months ago, if I remember correctly. We are talking about this parcel located at the northeast corner of Jodan Drive and Sir Hall Drive. The Planning Commission reviewed this multiple times, and ultimately what was recommended for approval was a rezoning to RCC, which is high density multiple family, subject to a condition that was offered by the applicant, which is that the northern half would be brought back for rezoning within 30 days of the approval of the original rezoning to rezone the northern half back to RB, single-family residential. That is what's in front of you this evening. The township board ultimately approved the rezoning, subject to that condition as well. The applicant actually submitted it essentially the day before the township board acted so they didn't miss any deadlines and so we could get the ball rolling, because the township board did have a concern that if it didn't happen, if they didn't submit, what would happen. So they have met all the requirements. This rezoning is now both in compliance with what we would look for in the master plan for this area and in compliance with the previous conditions of the rezoning on the property. And so staff has raised no major concerns, and would certainly recommend that we approve this, given that it is a condition of a previous rezoning. Be happy to answer any questions you might have. We have provided you with a resolution at your chair this evening that we did email out for approval, recommendation of approval if the excuse me, if the commission chooses to suspend the rules and move this evening.
Thank you very much. So just for the format of the public hearing, we had our remarks from Director Schmidt. We'll give the applicant an opportunity to speak if they so choose, at which point we'll have public comment, and then we'll go into our commissioner discussion. So at this time, is there a member from the applicant that would like to speak on behalf of this project? Okay, seeing none. Any public comment on this project? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on then to commissioner discussion. Any commissioner questions or discussion at this time? Commissioner Cordell.
As mentioned by the director, this came before us, and this was the ultimate goal of this rezoning. They had to split it. If we were not to act on it, it would remain, it would be a high density multifamily, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So it seems like a straightforward request, and unless there's something really odd that comes out, I'm planning on voting in favor of it, including deciding this evening. We don't often do that, but in this case, this was really prescribed. As the director said, it was part of it was a condition for the earlier action, and I'm all for it.
Wonderful. Any other questions or comments? Just one thing for Director Schmidt. This was predicated on splitting the parcel in half. I presume that they've completed that action as well.
Nope, the split will be the last piece. The way Director Kieselbach set this up, that's going to be the last piece in the stack, because if any of the previous pieces don't happen, then everything stops. So that will be the final thing they need to do.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I would echo Commissioner Cordell's comments that while we don't typically suspend our bylaws, this is something that we've seen on multiple occasions over many months this year. And while we didn't, we don't suggest conditions, this was certainly a condition that was favorable to myself, and I think based on our approval of the previous rezoning, to the majority of the commission as well. And so I think this, I have no issue with suspending our bylaws this evening and taking this up.
Is that something that we need to vote on?
We would, yes. Commissioner Richards.
Yeah, I guess I have a question for staff. Assuming this goes through, is this a buildable lot then? I mean, are they going to be able to build something on it?
Yes,
A single-family home?
they will be able to build a single family.
One?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or
Do you need
comments?
a motion to suspend the bylaws?
I certainly would, and it would be bylaw 6.4A if someone would be so enterprising.
I move
Commissioner Primo.
that we suspend bylaw 6.4A.
Supported by
For
Commissioner,
the purpose of voting on this issue.
thank you. Supported by Commissioner Richards. Any discussion on the motion to suspend the bylaws? Commissioner Shrewsbury.
Just to say that, as noted, we don't normally do this, and the reason that I'm supporting it tonight is because of the history of this particular topic, and not something that I think should be precedent-setting for other things going forward.
Thank you. Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, the question is on suspending bylaw 6.4A for immediate consideration of this agenda item. Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Primo.
Yes.
Commissioner Cordell.
Yes.
Commissioner Shrewsbury.
Yes.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes?
Commissioner Bloomer.
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder.
Yes.
Commissioner Trezise.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Motion carries. Now we can entertain this evening. Any motions to be made on that? Commissioner Cordell?
I'll make that motion for the resolution to recommend approval.
Do you have support? Supported by Commissioner Trezise. Any further discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Primo,
Yes.
Commissioner Cordell,
Yes.
Commissioner Shrewsbury,
Yes.
Commissioner Richards,
Yes.
Commissioner Bloomer,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Trezise.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The motion carries. Your rezoning's been approved. Thank you very much for following through so promptly on the request. And with that, we will go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:10. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is unfinished business. We have none. Other business, we have none. Township Board update. Director Schmidt, what do you have for us this evening?
Two things from the last meeting that I'd like to update the board on. The Township Board did adopt the budget for next year. There's a number of interesting projects in there, including some environmental initiatives. We're going to continue working on roads, solar panels, and we've made, frankly, it's unprecedented for me, having been dealing with, in local government with unfunded liabilities for so long, that it's amazing how far the township has come in addressing those. So kudos to the leadership here and the residents for supporting that. But it's a very good budget for the township. I'd be happy to answer any questions. If you have a chance to dig into it and come up with something, I'm happy to bird dog an answer for you. The other thing I would point out that the Township Board approved that is relevant to you is they did waive their rules and act on the Woodward Way project as well, the special use permit modification for a building greater than 25,000 square feet. They are moving extremely quickly and trying to get under construction this year because that project is under as big a time crunch as anything we've got going right now. So good that they are going to have this opportunity to try to get under construction still this year. Those are the two big things really that happened at the last Township Board meeting that are relevant to the Planning Commission.
Thank you. Any questions for Director Schmidt on that? Seeing none, we'll move on to liaison reports. Any reports from meetings in the last couple of weeks? Commissioner Primo.
We did a Zoom raw meeting, was it last Thursday, Tim? Two Thursdays ago? Yeah, and I think the meeting lasted about 15 minutes, so we didn't have a heavy agenda. It was mainly, we hadn't met in a while and we needed to touch base, and we did, and the world is good.
All right. Commissioner Bloomer.
The Downtown Development Authority had trouble getting a meeting going. They've tried twice now, and both times they failed to have a quorum. So nothing other than informal discussions have occurred. I understand that the director is going to try and put something together for our information. But right now, they're just kind of breezing through the end of the summer.
Okay. Commissioner Cordell.
The Corridor Improvement Authority met last week. They did have a quorum so that they could act. There had been a letter, I believe, in conjunction with the Transportation Commission requesting 3 crosswalks in the upgrading or rebuilding sections of Grand River. And so the wish is to go forward with that. And one is near, now that I mentioned it, it's by the bridge, the large multifamily, it's basically student housing, then near McDonald's. And now that I open my big mouth, I'm struggling to remember the third. It is the Dusty's development and reaching across the street. They did look at their 2021 goals, and they'll further refine that. That's essentially it.
Interesting. I'm curious how they would make a crosswalk work at a place like Dusty's where they're not going to put a light, right? Like, or at least maybe they will.
Well,
I don't know, but.
The intent is that it would be striped. There would be lights warning that cross traffic has the right of way. They're looking at the Central Park Drive as a model of what that would look like. I know it's fast-moving, but honestly, you get to a certain point, especially as you're approaching Okemos Road on Grand River, you're not at 45 anyway.
Right.
So,
Interesting. Any other liaison reports? All right. Seeing none then, we'll go ahead and move on to our next agenda item, which is project updates. We have no new applications. We have two site plans received, no new site plans approved. So I will have a final opportunity then for public remarks. If you'd like to speak at public remarks, please go ahead and come forward. Seeing no members of the public interested in speaking this evening, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Commissioner McConnell. Move a second. Second by Commissioner Trezise. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And the Planning Commission stands adjourned at 7:15 p.m. That's got to be close.
It is one of the shorter ones I've ever attended.
right.